Are we past the initial wave of AI adoption in education? So yesterday I was at an AI in Education conference in Sydney, hosted by Informa. It was pretty awesome. We had some very prominent speakers talking about all various topics on AI, but there were some common themes and I want to discuss them today. But if you're new here, my name is Vaughn Littlejohns. I'm an educational leader and coach, and I help people fast track their professional impact through the use of technology and deep reasoning. So, what did we focus on at this AI in Education conference? Now, look, previous conferences I've been at have been very much focused on ethical use, implications, and the threats around AI. And a lot of them have been based on, say, prompt engineering and just getting the basic foundational levels of understanding. Now, this one was a lot different. The whole concept for many was all around co-teaching. It was all around using custom GPTs, creating chatbots, agents, and deep reasoning in regards to assessment design. So we heard from some really amazing people, such as Adrian Cotterill and Anthony England and Jonathan. And there was an awesome moment where we actually had Ben, a student from Penrith, and his family presenting about how they actually created custom GPTs using ChatGPT for a study tutor. Now, I've talked about this in the past because we've created custom chatbots for most of our subjects, but it was awesome to hear it from a student perspective who's actually leveraging it. And now he's top in the class in every subject he's doing in Year 12, and he's using it as a tutor, he's using it as a guide and a muse, rather than a explicit sort of give me the answers, I'm just going to copy this. Because he's using it as a intellectual sparring partner rather than a get out of jail free card. So that was very, very powerful. And you could see the crowd, you can see the audience resonating strongly with what he was saying of how he's integrating it, how he's using it, and what the benefits are. Because he was basically saying, well, I can go and ask this for explicit feedback on my tasks. I can get working on how do I do this mathematic problem. I can break down an exam and look at what were the level of bands for each question. What was the hierarchy of the answers? So he can then specifically study for certain things. So that was awesome to see. Then there was all these other presenters that talked about creating chatbots as co-teachers. And he was discussing about the purpose of intent. Your intent matters more than the solution and more than the product. Because what we're seeing on the educational market at the moment is all these products, all these AI solutions coming out. The intent might not be there. The intent is to make money. The intent is to, try to fast track a specific problem. But he was questioning and putting it back on that we can create. And if you're not familiar with vibe coding, it's basically you don't need to know coding necessarily. You can use programs like Cursor and lovable.dev where you can prompt and it can basically spit out a bit of software for you relatively easy. You just have to be relatively reasonable at prompting. So there were some really awesome impacts. And we then also looked at Jonathan and his strategy as a director of innovation technology and his strategy for AI adoption in his school and how he's basically rolled out custom GPTs for his entire school with one license to ChatGPT rather than issuing 100 plus licenses to all his staff. So it was awesome to see the different strategies everyone's using, and we are significantly moving past the just prompt engineering phase. We're now looking at how do we actually leverage this for real case uses. And then towards the end, we had Adrian. He was talking about the traffic light system when it comes to assessment design. Now, the traffic light system is not a new thing. This is a simple universal design for learning framework that red usually indicates slow or no, or the hardest thing. And then green is go or the easiest thing. Now, in Adrian's concept, he actually switched it and he put it as red is no AI. You're showing your pure knowledge. It is assessment based around your fundamental ability to think and communicate. Whereas green was how are you going to be assessed was through the use of AI. So you're using AI and now you're getting assessed on how well you are actually using it. And then the yellow one was it's like a Venn diagram of a bit of a mixture. And it was more about unsupervised homework kind of tasks. So very, very interesting. And I'm curious on where are we going to go next, and what is working for the rollout periods for everyone. Because obviously being in a room full of early adopters and innovators, it's pretty amazing. And it's not necessarily about being the expert in that room, but just being in where the conversations are happening. There were some awesome panels going on as well, but I'm not going to reflect on the entire thing, but it's worth noting that we are now past, it seems, the initial wave of AI rollout, and now we're getting into the actual practical, foundational, let's save time, let's make more impact. So I'm going to leave it there. Remember, effort equals results. I'll see you in the next one.